Hi, I'm Matthew Ventures, and this is CS146. What's going on? We are working on assignment 1 here, and this is a video tutorial talking about coding in Unity, a few tips, a few tricks, and helping you to toggle between your game objects for basically just getting you started a little familiar with how to find where things are in a foreign code base. So here I am in Unity, and I zoomed in on the character here using my mouse scroll wheel. But these gizmos are in the way, so I could turn them off like this. That way I could see these objects a little clearer. And I've added a freeze ray as a game object to the prefab. So if I wanted to do that, I could delete it here. What this is going to ask me to do in versions 2018 and further for Unity is to open the prefab, and I can edit it here. I have to edit it separately if it's in 2018 or higher. If you're on 2017, then you could probably just delete it with the delete key. And so I've got the freeze ray here, I've got the bazooka, and essentially I could turn it on and off by clicking this button, which is deactivating and activating the game object. You can see it gets kind of grayed out a little bit when it's deactivated. But I want to do that by code. I want to do that in code. And so my goal here is to figure out what's going on behind the scenes and figure out how we can do that. So the first thing is I'm going to open up one of these scripts, and I'm going to close all this stuff. And what we're going to try to do, so what is this? I opened up Destroyer. Well, who knows what the heck that is. But we want to find the scripts that deal with the gun or the button input. I've written a bunch of notes here. Okay, so we talked about how to edit the prefab. So I'm going to chop that one off. Now we're going to talk about how to detect input so we can toggle those weapons. So, okay, let's search through the solution. The way that I could do that is Control-Shift-F to look anywhere within all these files, try to find the file I'm looking for. And let's look for maybe weapons, something like that. Okay, so nothing came up. We could look for mouse, try to find, okay, nothing there either. We could look for button. Okay, and I found a bunch of things for button. So let's see what's going on here. We got a few scripts. We've got a gun.cs. Okay, so this seems to refer to firing the gun. So that might be useful. And what's this? This is if they push the fire 2, then they could lay down a bomb. Okay. Cool. All right, so let's go into the gun script. And this is checking for fire 1. We're going to make a new if statement here. And we're going to say input dot, well, we could do either a button or the mouse. So if we do the mouse, we could do get mouse button down, 0 for the left mouse button, 1 for the right mouse button. Or we could do a key. We could do any key down. Let's do, if they push the, oh, I don't know, let's do, and it's auto-filling this in here with key code, which is an enum that defines known keys. What do you guys think is going to be a good one? Let's do shift. Left shift. If they click left shift, then it's going to go into this if statement. So we have an update loop here, which is going to run every frame. And well, let's just print some debug. So let's do debug.log. If they push this, we're going to say, I don't know, we're going to say pushed. And we're going to print that out. So let's see if that works. We're going to save that, push play. And I'm going to click the game string and push shift. Now when I go to the console window, I can see that, hey, you know what? My script actually printed this text, and if I double click it, I can go right to where it's within the script. Awesome. So what I want to do now that we have the input being detected, done, is toggle the weapons. So we could see within this, if we go to the game object, oh, let's turn this off for a second. If I click on gun, you can see that they're referencing this rocket prefab. We want to do something like that. So we have a reference to the bazooka and the body. Or no, the bazooka and the freeze ray. And so because it's public, it'll show up within this editor window here. As you can see, you could drag and drop into this box. If it's private, then other classes won't be able to reference it, but that would be better for scope reasons. So what you could do in Unity is you could serialize the field. by adding the serialized field keyword. And then I can say private game object, let's say Ray. And I'm going to make another one for the bazooka. Cool. So now, if I play the game, I should see 2 new boxes. Yeah, here they are. And I could drop in references to those game objects now. So here's my bazooka. And here's my freeze ray. All right, so that's done. So now it has reference to those. But, and this is actually something that the starter code didn't do so well, and I'm sorry about that. But whenever you get something that's a serialized field or even a public field here, you always want to assert that it's there. Okay, so assertions happen all the time in game developer code. The way that Unity does assertions looks like this. You do Unity engine dot assertions dot assert dot is not null, and then I can paste the name of the objects here. That way I can check and make sure that they were dragged in, because hey, you know what, I might add something or remove it and forget to drag it in that box, and then it's not going to be referenced and I'm not going to know what happened. So it's always better to assert in the beginning. That way we can detect if there's an issue. Okay, so that should all be good, and what we're going to do is, instead of, well, we'll say pushed, but we're also going to reference those objects and set them active false. Okay, so actually I want to turn the ray on, so let me put true here. And let me go to bazooka, and I'll put false there. So this should mean when I push shift, the bazooka will turn off and the freeze ray will stay on. Okay, now let's push shift. Awesome, so the bazooka's gone, the freeze ray's there, that's great. But if I push shift again, it stays that way, right? We made it manually pretty much only go to freeze ray. So what we can do instead is say, go to the opposite of what you are now. So if you're false, turn on. If you're on, turn off. And to do that, we could say active in hierarchy. Not. Okay, not active in hierarchy. Okay, so that's basically just flip, do whatever you were, but do the opposite. And so that should provide us, oh, and let's turn the freeze ray off to start, because the player has to pick that up. They don't get it by default. Save that, save that. Let's give that a try. Okay, now if I push shift, I got the freeze ray, and I can switch back to the bazooka. Awesome. And I've activated sticky keys. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Now there's one other thing I wanted to show you. So we got the toggle weapons here. We talked about the debug output. But I want to demonstrate to you how to create breakpoints. And this is really useful if you want to investigate what's going on in the code behind the scenes. I can click right here in Visual Studio to create a breakpoint, and then click Attach to Unity. Now when my game runs and it gets to this red highlighted line, it's going to pause the program flow, and it's going to open up the script so I can see what's going on. So if I push Shift now, the game is paused, and I can see that this is where it is in the script right now. And I can actually hover over these items, and I can look at their values. So I could look at Ray, which is a game object, and I could see all this information about the game object. And this is really useful if you want to see, like, oh, what's in an array at any given time or something like that. You just want to debug the values. So that's something that I definitely wanted to mention to you before you start. Oh, and there's one more thing. In Unity, you're going to probably be adding some new script files at some point. Maybe you want to make a new file for your freeze ray or something. And or maybe you guys aren't making a freeze ray, maybe you're making something else. I don't know what it is, but what you might want to do is create a script for that new item. So I'm going to make a new class here. I basically just opened up the spawner class, cleared it out, and I'm going to call it new item. And as a model behavior, you need to have two things, right? You need to make sure that you save it. I think I actually just saved over spawner.cs. I didn't want to do that, my bad. I want to save this as a new file, and I'm going to call it the same exact name as the class itself. So if this is new item, then when I do save, this needs to be new item.cs. Okay, like that. So that's the first catch. The second catch is that not always will your script automatically show up within the scripts folder. Okay, so if I do refresh, I see new item here. But if I added the script from, I don't know, let's say here. Let's say I add a new script here, and I want to edit it. It comes up as a miscellaneous file. That's a problem because when as you saw before, if I type in serialized field, it kind of auto fills it in for me. I have all these references. I don't have those if it's in a miscellaneous file. If I start typing that in, it's not going to know what the heck I'm talking about. So the fix for that, which a lot of students don't know, so I want to make sure I tell you guys this now, is you want to make sure you include it. So just do add. You need to open the Solution Explorer, which you can access from View, Solution Explorer. Go inside. Right-click on Scripts and then say Add Existing Item. Then you can find your script. And what are we looking at? AMJS Debug was the name I chose for some reason. Here, let's paste that into scripts. So now it's in my scripts file. And now I'm going to add it. Now I think if you put it in the scripts file and you push refresh, it might actually show up here. No, it doesn't appear to be doing that. Okay, well, in that case, you could just add existing item, add the item here. And now when I look at new item, I see it says assembly C#. Okay, it doesn't say miscellaneous files anymore, which means if I type in serialized field, it's going to fill it in for me. Great. Okay, so that's a little bit of a gotcha, something extra you have to do when you're dealing with these different solution files. Okay, so that wraps up the intro. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and good luck in your assignment. Thank you.